The company we know today as Audi could have been named DKW or Auto Union, if not for a decision made by parent company Volkswagen in the 1960s. The brand story begins with automotive pioneer and racing driver August Horch, who formed his first company in 1901 to build passenger cars. His name means hark or listen in English, but Horch was a man of vision. As a businessman, however, Horch was kicked out of his own company by the board of management, and he went on to establish another firm in his hometown of Zwickau. Horch christened the new company Audi, the Latin form of his name. The first Audi was built by hand, and very few were sold. Horch stayed with low volume, low profit production long after Audi's rivals had adopted Henry Ford's mass production technique. Within a few years, Audi's cars had grown in size and engine displacement as service stations spread throughout Germany. The stock market crash of the late 1920s left Audi in financial disarray, but Jürgen Rasmussen, the head of a motorcycle manufacturer named DKW, took control. Under Rasmussen's leadership, Audi built four-cylinder cars only, leaving the extravagant luxury cars to other brands. DKW, also a car maker by 1928, was one of just 16 German car makers to survive the Great Depression. Four of those companies forced to merge were DKW, Audi, Horch and Wanderer. The newly formed Auto Union soon became Germany's second most popular automotive brand after GM owned Opel during the 1930s. In the lead up to World War II, the German government promoted its Nazi ideology through international motorsport, and Auto Union and Mercedes-Benz became the standard bearers for German nationalism on the track. Finished in silver, the national racing colour of Germany, Auto Union's cars set new records in the hands of famous drivers like Bernd Rosemeyer, Hans Stuck and Tazio Nuvolari. War broke out in 1939 and Auto Union supplied vehicles, including motorcycles, for the German armed forces. When World War II ended in 1945, 3 out of the 4 Auto Union brands were caught behind the Iron Curtain when Saxony was occupied by the Soviet Union. Only DKW escaped to the west, with its employees and management voting in favour of a relocation to Ingolstadt, still the home of Audi today. While the Auto Union name was retained for DKW vehicles built in the 50s, the old companies of Horch, Audi and Wanderer ceased to exist. Volkswagen acquired a controlling share of DKW during the 1960s. The new owner retired the DKW brand in favour of Audi, reviving the old name but keeping the 4-ring logo. VW withheld consent for Audi to build its first 100 model sedan, but Audi went ahead anyway. Volkswagen graciously accepted the new model after the fact. When VW purchased another manufacturer, NSU, the rotary-powered NSU R080 provided the inspiration for later design traits embraced by Audi for the 100, including longitudinal engine mounting, front-wheel drive, and aerodynamic styling. When Volkswagen introduced its water-cooled and front-wheel drive Passat and Golf in the mid-70s, sharing platforms and drivetrains with Audi became possible for the first time. The Passat was based on the Audi A8 for its first and second generations. From the early 1980s, Audi led the world in production car aerodynamics. The 1982 Audi 100 was a game changer. Also during the 1980s, Audi's Quattro burst onto the world rallying scene. A dominant force in the sport, the Quattro, a turbocharged all-wheel drive coupe, was quickly copied by other brands for their own rally weapons. Under Group B rules, the Quattro and its imitators were highly successful, but in just a few years, the category was abandoned by the governing body due to a series of high-profile fatalities. Experimentation with materials technology led Audi down the path of galvanised vehicle construction and, within a decade, the aluminium-bodied A8 of 1993. A challenging and costly material for use in high-volume vehicle production, aluminium was the wrong choice for the tiny A2, an expensive failure for both the consumer and the manufacturer. More recently, Audi has been dragged into the Volkswagen Dieselgate scandal, but the brand remains one of the more profitable arms of the Volkswagen Group. No one can foresee what the future holds for Audi, but within the Volkswagen Group, the company remains a driving force for technological advance, embodied in the company's slogan, Vorsprung durch Technik.